Cool. So I kind of tried to give my section to Paul. So we're gonna.
You can talk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's take this time to open discussion to future Grand Staircase Regional Guide Association projects. I can kind of fill that in the time that we have right now, and then Morgan can jump in at 10:30. Sound good to you guys? Okay. So this is. I talked about the resource management plan in the CRA, and it seems like we've covered that pretty well. If anybody has any questions about that, like I said, just ask me. But let's open the discussion for future Grand Staircase projects. What's going on out there? What do you guys want us to address? Now is the time to do it. We have a meeting even scheduled tomorrow. We mentioned that we will be doing the Explore Act, and Raptor will be a big part of that meeting as well. So, but what else? What's going on out there that you guys want to take issue with? Things that are going well, things that are not going so well? Let's hear from you. So, what do we got? Anybody got anything?
What's the relationship with the different counties and road management for kind of grading, planning, and caretaking of the roads?
Are you talking about Hole in the Rock Road?
Just all of them in general. I think, as far as what can we expect for, like we go up Scoot and Paw and Hole in the Rock, and just kind of, do you guys have input, or do we?
So I have input from talking with the road crews. If you want, I can kind of pass it on. So the problem with our roads is that you have to have moisture to recreate our roads, right? Garfield County will continue to take care of the Kane County side over on Hole in the Rock Road. Garfield County is right now currently doing a lot of work on Hole in the Rock Road, putting in new culverts the last couple of days, and then there's quite a bit of talk of paving the first 15 miles. Yep. Yeah, that's the move, and that's kind of what everybody there is talking about. I don't know the legality of it right now. I did do a little inquiry yesterday as to how much of the funding that goes to the paving of Hole in the Rock Road comes from the counties or comes from the feds. And it looks like the majority of it comes from the counties, and something that I was kind of surprised to hear. There's not a whole lot of federal money for that road, and those guys just don't want to do it anymore, and they want to pave it. Now they're just going to kind of, I think, dip their foot in the water and see what happens. When I say paving, I think I mean chip seal. Does it make sense for everybody? Just call it paving. But yeah, that's the push from what I've heard from the county road crew guys.
And we do have that is a topic for our meetings tomorrow, is to try to get a sense of, how they're thinking, how the BLM is thinking about it. Of course, they only have so much control over the counties, as we saw this last year when they installed the culvert at Buckskin Gulch, which was a fight between the county and the BLM, and so we'll try to get as much information as we can, specifically from the BLM, and then we have had conversations with the counties as well. And my conversations with Garfield County has been that they claim that they spend $1.2 million a year on repairs to Hole in the Rock, and claim that is unsustainable, and are using that as justification for doing the chip and seal on there. And so we're really trying to understand, like Nate said, some of the facts around that, and we have been clear that there's lots of paved roads out there, and that it materially changes the experience, regardless of how washboardy the road is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It materially changes the experience when you do improvements like that. And
regardless, I don't think they'll move to the Kane County side. I mean, that's probably not in the foreseeable future, but we don't know. You kind of start the process, you never know which way to go. How do people feel about this? This is a great opportunity. Yes?
So my question would be, are they doing any kind of study on the impacts of increased garbage, vandalism, anything like that? If they do pave something like that, you're just putting more people out further that pretty much shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, no, I would say no. I think it's primarily a financial reason that's what they're giving us. Yeah, so I can open this up. I want to get a good survey, because I've been talking to people in Escalante about it, and it can be pretty split. People are like, yeah, I'm sick of bouncing my ass all the way out Hole in the Rock Road and picking my bumper up on the way home. Yeah, how do you feel about it?
Personally, as a local, I have some feelings, but I will say, we have clients. I work for a company that is backpacking out of the trailheads on the upper Hole in the Rock, and we choose the trailheads actually for easy access, so that people could rent a two-wheel drive vehicle in Vegas versus have to pay more or have to have a bigger vehicle. And when the road is it's a very different conversation with those clients when the road or the trailhead is very accessible. And we do even pick trailheads based on, we don't go to the past the early weed bench just because of the damage that it's done to people's cars. So that's kind of ours. We want clients that they don't want to spend all their vacation money on the vehicle to get them there. So yeah.
Okay.
So you're for it?
I
like to see it paid for.
I think I wouldn't advocate for it, but I would understand that desire.
But it goes back to some places need to stay wild and hard to access, and that's why people come here is for that experience. And so when you start paving things, I feel it just is. We're going to see a decline in the experience overall. But that's just me.
So I just attended a meeting with Kane County, and we had Kane County BLM and the road management and who's in charge, and nobody wants to pay the money, but pretty good coalition, I think, going back to working, getting all the guides together. But with the road issues here in Kane County, even out towards Inchworm and stuff, the ranchers have issues with bad roads. I don't mind bad roads because the ATVs do great on them, but asks even when the ATVs are getting beat up, and so it is nice to have those collaborative management. But whereas the road being improved out to House Rock Valley Road, that actually hurts our business because they put some gravel in there, they put the buckskin now.
Anybody can go.
Anybody can go in their two-wheel drive Prius that they got from Vegas, and so I do think there is that line of yes, some road improvement access is important, but at the same time preserving the experience.
How did Kane County feel about that? Those kind of responses.
The county's working with us. We're trying to get money through the county. Some of the guides might be on a tractor grading, or just sand is tough.
Yeah.
But,
knocking down the bumps.
Again, the moisture issue. But the county's been very open to working with BLM. Again, BLM, the restrictions on where you can and can't go. Locally, I think sometimes they would just as soon take a blind eye and be like, okay, if you're going to improve this little section, as long as the impact is minimal and stuff, just take care of it. And
did Kane County mention Hole in the Rock Road at all?
No, we didn't discuss Hole in the Rock.
Probably just stay with Garfield
There
County.
was more on the
Gotcha.
KFO.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we were concerned about is just precedent setting.
Yeah.
Pave or chip and seal, whatever you want to call it. Hole in the rock. Next thing you know, because there's precedent there, are they going to want to pave down a wire pass?
Yeah.
Something along those lines. So really kind of thinking long term and concerned about that.
Yeah, and wire pass goes somewhere.
Something that
Hole in the Rock does not. I mean, it does. We all know it goes somewhere, but there's not not a destination.
something that's interesting about these road improvements, I think House Rock Valley Road is a really good example, is we improve the road base, and then it's okay, what's going to be the new normal? What's going to be the storm that causes people to get stuck out there? Or at what point are we going to see a washout after something's rebuilt? And to a certain degree, the while the improvements ease up visitation for a period of time, it reaches a point where I've seen road improvements fail, and that creates a little bit of a mess when those major storms come through.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like sand dunes?
Yeah.
Back in the corner?
I can talk really loud, I'm good at it. I just am like thinking, I'm not a guide in the sense, but my like opinion and mindset is like, if we were to improve these roads and we have so many wilderness study areas, how is that going to affect the possibility of a wilderness area?
Well,
Because we're not supposed to have improvements. We're not supposed to have anything man-made. And I know road base is just road base, but like how is that going to affect wilderness character down the road? That's like where my mind goes. And
yep, that's the BLM's job, but I think if there's a road there, it's not potentially wilderness. I mean, that's the definition of it. To cross, yeah, exactly. But we have taken roads out. Well, we were talking earlier about the V Road. They're trying to remove that road and make it wilderness again. So there's a toss-up there, which, you know, if there's a road there, it's specific, you know, pretty much says it cannot be a wilderness. That's the definition of wilderness, right? So. Yeah, any other question? Like, I know a lot of us over in, on that side of the county make a living because we can haul people out there. That's what we do, you know? We get you beyond the bumps. And so I think it does, in that way, kind of feeds into the industry a little bit. My personal opinion on it is that there should be wilderness characteristics. I like the idea of, like, I've always loved the zonal management of Grand Staircase, right? Like, so you go deeper out there. Like, you kind of you turn off Highway 12 where all of us live and make our money and sell stuff to people in the communities. And then you turn on a dirt road, either in your rental vehicle or your own vehicle, and you're getting a little further out there. And you just drive out that road and it turns off into another road, and it gets even further out there until eventually you stop and you get out and you walk. And so it kind of facilitates this whole experience of really feeling like you're getting way out there. And along the way, we all kind of have an opportunity to make money on that. So go ahead.
Just a personal comment. House Rock Valley Road, the improvements, what I've observed is it seems like it's less safe now because people are driving too fast. They're not aware of what's ahead of them, and whether it's ruts, rocks, whatever, but I think it's more dangerous now for those that haven't driven it than before.
For sure.
Several of us tried to make that argument, actually, with the BLM, and, you know, they were adamant that that was something that needed to be done to facilitate search and rescues. That, you know, they try to claim that, you know, there were a number of times when it was difficult or onerous for them to be able to, you know, kind of get out to wire pass and such, which, yeah.
I don't know how well the counties communicate. I kind of do, but I don't. But Washington County is using an enzyme on the Smithsonian Butte road, and they're kind of testing that out to kind of harden the dirt and minimize the. So as you guys work with these other counties, kind of have them that there's other attempts to harden the dirt without paving it to kind of minimize that.
One other thing that when I've talked to the county guys about it is one of the things I always say about Hole in the Rock Road is bringing it back into boundary. You know, I mean, the sucker's getting pretty wide. You can land a 747 on Hole in the Rock Road, and that's just because they keep on grading it. You know, it gets wider and wider as they do so, and so, you know. That's going to bring up another aspect of this conversation. If it does go this way, and if the county wants to chip seal this road, are there requests or demands that we have for the county as they move forward? You know what I mean? Yes.
I just think, like, living in Boulder, search and rescue and hospitals and whatnot, that's a concern that I have, is increased visitation leading to more accidents. And so it's interesting to hear, Paul, what you were saying about search and rescue maybe liking that access, it being easier for them to get back there. So I wonder, like, in terms of what is the scope of our search and rescue right now beyond volunteer?
No, that's it. And it's volunteer.
Yeah,
So.
totally.
And one thing that I think a lot of folks don't, just in general, the public doesn't necessarily realize is that, hotels collect TRT, right? So tax dollars from visitors. Some of those TRT dollars by mandate are required or can be used for marketing for the area, but a big chunk of those dollars are allocated to what's called tourism mitigation stuff. And as an example, last year, Kane County, and again, we have the Amangiri in Kane County, so there's some significant dollars that come into Kane County because of the Amangiri, but $3 million went to roads, and that's just in general. To roads, fixing potholes and and stuff like that. But there is also a chunk that goes to EMS services. There's a chunk that goes to waste mitigation, things like that. So I find it sometimes frustrating, and I mentioned this at a meeting. That a number of the commissioners were at recently, that it feels like a lot of folks don't necessarily recognize and see the benefits because, they only look at the negatives as tourism. And there's some real benefits, there as well, and especially, those tourism mitigation dollars. One other thing I just wanted to ask the group, because we do have it on our agenda for tomorrow, is an agenda item that the Arizona Strip asked us to include, which is about lotteries. And so, as most of us know that have been around for a number of years, the lotteries, like for the Wave and South Coyote Buttes, in particular, went from in-person online, and the BLM has some issues with how the lottery is being run. Of course, they're all of their own doing. They don't have a stick that they can use with the general public, but it's my feeling that they have a stick that they feel like they can use with guides and outfitters because we're permitted by them. And so my question for this group, for anyone that's involved in, the lottery aspect, do you have or see any, have you had any issues? What are you seeing there, I guess, is ultimately my question. Is there anything that you would like for us to, tomorrow at our meeting, bring to the BLM when they broach and bring up this topic?
You know, Mike?
My only input would be, if they're talking about increasing numbers, I really feel like South Coyote Buttes. I think the numbers are good. I think it's so fragile. I think they have to really look at the fragility of the environment and those numbers, because what I'm noticing is when I run into private people out there that are not guided, they're out there with metal tips on their hiking sticks. They are walking on that lace rock that is so incredibly fragile, and they just don't have any concept of it. I mean, you can tell someone in an orientation over and over, like, please be careful where you step, but they don't compute that when they get out there. And so I feel that the number increase out there, I mean, if that's something that's on the table, but also at the same time, like, something has to be done with educating the people that are going out there on their own. A lot more people are actually hiking in from Pahole, like right at the turn from House Rock Valley Road. I just ran into some people the other day. I mean, they're logging like an extra 9 miles, because they can't access it. And I don't know, like, I think that sometimes the numbers, I mean, and as a guide, yeah, we want more numbers, we want take more people out, but especially in that area, I think it needs to be, like, kept lower. And then the Wave too, with that increase, a lot more, vandalism and trash and things like that. But that's why guides are a benefit to the landscape, because we're picking up after everyone and reporting the vandalism so it can be remedied quicker, so someone else doesn't just come and add their name to wherever. So I think when you guys go and meet with them about that, I think that we definitely serve a positive purpose. We're not a waste of money, and we all truly care about, that landscape. So that's...
That's well said, and it's not our understanding that they're talking about increasing numbers at all. It's more the lottery process, whereas guides and outfitters apply, visitors apply at the same time. They made... actually the tail wagged the dog here in that, recreation.gov basically refuses to collect PII or personal identifiable information. And, if you remember from the old walk-in lottery, if you went and applied, no one else from your group could apply, right? Now, because they refuse to collect PII, recreation.gov does, everyone in your group can apply separately, right? They don't ask for any names in advance. And, my understanding of what they want to talk about is that kind of process, Can guide and outfitters apply at the same time that, a visitor applies for the same, permit and so on and so forth?
I would, no, I'm good. This will get it, but thank you. I actually don't like the fact that guides and outfitters can apply, because I just don't think they should be, I don't think a person who comes here from wherever in the country should be competing also against a business. And it feels like to me when a business gets the permit and then they turn around and get on Facebook and promote it, that they have spots available, to me that's just like, that seems unethical to me. So I don't think they should be competing against the general public, and I don't think, I know in the past if they had a client here, they would have people go apply in person. I think that's okay, but to be able to turn around and basically sell the spots, I think that's unethical in my mind. So. And I know that happens in companies here, but I'm saying it in front of all of you because that's how I feel. Especially as one who can't get a permit to certain areas. So I'm boxed out. I can't guide certain areas. Would love to, but I can't do it. And so it really bothers me when I see basically companies selling those spaces. I do not like that at all. Okay. So, and I just want to say that in front of everyone so you know how I feel.
Any other comments around that?
Yeah. One of the things, because I rarely have to deal with recreation.gov because, in my opinion, it's a pain in the ass. It kicks you back out every time you do something in it. It kicks you back to square one on it. On the other side, I get clients that are coming into the area to do tours and stuff, and one of the ways that I utilize my business is I give them options, and one of them is they're not going to be in the area, so they're already booking with me, so I attempt to get a permit for them to no avail, but I'm spending my money with them too.
Yeah, so. No, and I think it's great if you have an existing client with, if they're here and they're working with you, I think that's great. I don't have a gripe with that. It's more just competing, against people, and then you don't necessarily have a client, already there, or you sell the extra spaces, so to speak. That's where I think I don't like that at all. But again, that's just my opinion. So, but yeah, what you're explaining, I think that's totally legit and great. Yeah, because you should be able to give your clients you have the knowledge and understanding. Some of the companies have staff who can do that while the guides are out, and I think that's totally fine. So I don't have an issue with that, especially if they're here spending money, staying at hotels, that kind of thing.
Well, and then the geofence too, right? So like if they're not gonna be here until the day of the hike, and they can't be here to apply like 2 days before, but they're your client.
Yeah, but
Taking them out regardless, yeah.
yeah, and I don't know how you manage that, but yeah, I think, yeah, there just has to be, I don't know, there has to be some kind of line, and I don't know. That's more of a guide and like outfitter thing maybe, but I don't know if it has as much to do with the, you know, the BLM or.
Well, it's the rules.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, because, you know, I think that, you know, the way the BLM operates is it's $6 to apply, whether you're applying for 1 or 6.
Right.
Why not apply for 6?
Yeah.
You know, their rules allow that.
Yeah.
All right, I think, any other comments or things that you would like us to surface tomorrow at our meeting with the?
I'm just wondering, is there any talk of any kind of restroom out by pockets?
Yeah, so the restroom is actually built. It's sitting in a warehouse.
I think it was 2 years ago you said we were gonna have a bathroom.
Yeah, well, this is minutes right on time right now.
They are trying to figure out, you know, how to actually install it out there. My recent conversations with him, and it is also a topic item that I did speak with Tim out at the Arizona Strip office the other day. And yeah, it's built, sitting in a warehouse, it's ready to go. And I volunteered that, well, you know, if you need some resources and some help to, you know, get that, you know, actually finally installed, you know, let's talk about a collaborative thing, and, you know, we could probably put a number of guides together, you know, that could help out. So that is, it is going to happen because it's already built to their specs and sitting in a warehouse. I would suspect that with everything going on, you know, right now, unless they allow, you know, private parties like us to help out there, it might be another year off. But you know, if we can help. You know, we're volunteering everybody in this room to, you know, try to.
We've already volunteered you multiple times. Yes, just so you know.
Yeah, because we've been, like you know, we've been pushing on this for years.
Is it like the ones at Wire Pass?
No, it's like the one out at Tomorrowweek.
So the composting.
Composting toilet, yeah.
Thank you, that's good.
And if anyone has anything that you think about, you know, again, talk to either Nate, myself, Yerma will be at the meeting tomorrow. Julie, you're going to be there, right? Julie will be at the meeting tomorrow as well as, so she's not here. She may be here this afternoon. Jillian with Always Adventures will also be at the meeting tomorrow. So, you know, again, we want to be your voice. And so if there are things that we can help with, unless we hear from you, we might not always know what's kind of pressing on you.
Yeah. Okay, great. I guess we're just going to move on. We're going to move right on with our agenda. We're a little bit behind, but the next we have Morgan, who's going to speak here. A century-old dream, protect public lands in southern Utah. So we did this slideshow presentation.